Assalamualaikum. Cik Razin, boleh dengar ke?
Sorry, buat last minute. Okay. How are you?
Ustaz Razin dah sarapan?
Dah. Sarapan awal lah.
Sempat dah?
Work from home.
I think you punya work from home is actually really work from home. Your office is next door, yeah?
Yeah, we've done that for the past 10 years. Where are you? Are you in the office or at home?
At home. Too early.
Ada orang hantar chat.
Oh, my apa ni? My senior, my senior masa dekat Brighton.
How's my audio? Is that clear?
Yes. So far okay, but I think you need to speak up a bit. Tadi macam slow. How about mine?
Yours is perfect.
Okay, alright, great.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Architect Abu Zarim, PAM Deputy President and also the Chairman of CPD Committee, PAM Council members, PAM members, PAM CPD Committee members, Secretariat staff, and also Garis Pixel, who is providing the technical support for this CPD online program. Welcome to this virtual session of PAM CPD Unlimited. 2 years ago, in November 2019, we had our first CPD Unlimited for the first time. I was invited by Architect Wan Sofia, the coordinator for the CPD Unlimited 2019 program, to present a paper. Regret that I have to decline the invitation because it clashes with my another program, the 9th Annual Development Conference in Singapore, where I was invited to present a paper together with our Minister of Housing and Local Government, YB Zuraida Kamarudin. I was informed by Architect Wan Sofia that the session in KL was well attended and there were minor issues on car parking space and room availability when we did the physical session 2 years ago. Time allocated for speakers were too short. Some couldn't finish the session before the following session starts in the same room. So initially, Architect Abu Zarim, the CPD chairman, planned to have physical CPD Unlimited program on 15 December last year. But due to the pandemic, then we have to postpone to 9th of January 2021. But again, the MCO was also extended several times, affecting our schedule. Finally, we have decided to have this session online. So today, this session will be conducted fully online due to COVID-19 pandemic and the SOP that we have to comply with. I hope this virtual session eliminates the problem that we had before. No more car parking problem, no more room availability problem. But please be prepared and tolerate with us. With this virtual session, speakers are everywhere. They are at home, in their office, and some are at PEM Center. So we are running multiple sessions concurrently. It is stretching the internet bandwidth that we have. But we have our technical team on standby. So we are experimenting this virtual CPD Unlimited for the first time. There are many things that we will learn from this session. Speaking on learning, I hope participants will learn new things from this program today. Under this pandemic and economic challenges, it is like racing. Every day we have to learn and get the new knowledge. Otherwise, we'll be left behind. We are happy to have our speakers willing to share their knowledge and new technologies with us today. I am glad that we have Architect Razin Mahmood. He will be sharing his journey, small team with big dream. And we also have Dato Architect Saiful Anwar Aziz. He will be sharing his experience as a sole proprietor exporting services overseas. And of course, our special guest, Dato Sri Engineer Zaini Ujang from Ministry of Environment and Water. He will be talking about eco-shift in built environment. We also have Taufik Nazaruddin Nohayati Ahmad speaking about digital solution and Internet of Things. We also have Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Tamizi from UMP Holding. He'll be speaking on BIM organization transformation. And we have Architect Gary Wong also talking about BIM today. And other than that, we have many more speakers on various topics. On fire safety design, we have Architect Chong Lee Seong, Engineer Hao Jiang Te. On construction contract related subjects, we have Architect Joseph Tan, Architect Lu Chi Kiong. We also have David Yeh. We'll be talking about mediation and dispute resolution. We also have the topics on conservation by Mariana Issa, Mangjit Kaul, Architect Rida Razak, and Ahmad Najib Arifin, and also on urban design by Associate Professor Dr. Sharifah Salwa. I will not be able to say to mention all the names, but there are many more speakers. You can check with the program. And later in my session, I will also share the finding from our survey from the government agencies, developers, contractors, and individual project owners on what do they expect from architects in providing architecture services. Recently, we have conducted a survey to get the feedback from developers, contractors, and also government agency on their expectation on architects' services. And on behalf of PEM, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here virtually today. This is our first ever virtual CPD Unlimited program. Please give us feedback at the end of the session so that we will improve things in the future. I hope that all participants will enjoy this session and have a good interaction with the speakers. Make sure you interact with the speaker. Don't just leave your computer on, but you are not there. So enjoy the session. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Okay, can we start now? Abdul Razin, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, but
Yeah.
there's something on my screen right now where you have to do sign in code, where there is a poll, but host and panelists cannot vote. I don't understand what it is. I think it's for the participants to sign
Yeah,
in.
for the participants, yes.
So what do? I just close this box?
Yes, mine has disappeared.
Okay, I just close this
Okay.
box. All right.
All right. Assalamualaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Very good morning to everyone, wherever you are in this virtual platform. Welcome to all participants and viewers to this webinar session this morning for session 1 entitled Journey of an Architect, Small Team with a Big Dream. Let me introduce myself. My name is Hazri Abdul Aziz, your moderator of this webinar session. I'm also a PEMSO chairman for this term, towards the end of the terms already. And I'm humbly honored to be given this platform to be a moderator to such an aspiring architect of whom he has made a significant impact to the architecture fraternity as a whole. I believe everyone is looking forward to his presentations. Hope you are all ready for this morning talk. Please make yourself comfortable, perhaps with a cup of coffee ready next to you. Before we start the sessions, our speaker this morning for session 1 needs no introductions to anyone. He was born in Johor Bahru in 1965, but was raised in Pontian, Johor. He received his secondary education in MCKK in 1978 to 1982 and had a tertiary education in LSU, Louisiana State University, America in 1983 to 1988. He is well-known architect in Malaysia and has won many awards locally and internationally. He is also active in publications, and among the recent books that he has published is Blurring Boundaries. I think it's a good platform for you to basically to advertise a bit on that book. Okay, he has also given numerous design talks, just to name a few, such as in Datum 2014, Tropical Architecture in Acacia Student Jamboree, and also represented Malaysia for UN Habitat Urban Forums and UN Pavilion Shanghai World Fair in 2010. He is also active in PAM, of which he was our PAMSO chairman back in 2004 till 2006. It's actually quite a long time ago, almost 10 years, yeah, about 6 years ago. He is also actively involved with NGO, and among the NGO he is involved with is Eksan Johor, of which he is the president. He is also actively involved in academic activities, which he has contributed immensely in the academic fraternity in university in Malaysia, such as being a guest associate professor in UTM in 2010 to 2012, and quite recently as adjunct professor in UTM in 2019 to 2020, and also a guest speaker and critics for many local universities in Malaysia. Okay, his list actually can goes on and on and on. It's actually a long list, but I better stop here. Otherwise, I'll eat up the speaker's time. So I'll better not do that. Okay, let us now proceed to the moment that you've all been waiting for our first session. Speaker to deliver his presentation. Okay, anytime when you are ready, and the platform is yours, Architect Razin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Architect Hazri, for your kind words. I'm testing my mic here. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Is everyone okay? Can you hear my sound? Okay, good. It's a lovely Saturday morning here in Johor Bahru. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. Today's talk is actually my 7th talk for this year. I was invited to give talks for university students. Beginning of this year, I think almost 5 or 6 schools has invited me, and it was all done online like this. So this is the first time that I'll be talking to fellow architects, my camaraderie, my friends in the profession. Do not online especially, but today I'm taking this opportunity to share the journey that we have been through. Just for your information, my company name is Razin Architect Sdn Bhd. It was Razin Architect for the first 10 years, and after the 10th year, we decided to take in a director, and then we converted it to Sdn Bhd. So this year, 2021 is our 25th year. So we will be celebrating our anniversary in April 16 to be exact. What I would like to share with you guys is that when I started in 1996, it was a rough start for me. Just to share with you the last job that I was involved in early 1996. This is Plaza Merdeka, which was developed by a big public listed company. I think you guys know about it. It's Renong Berhad. They were the developer for Commonwealth Center, Commonwealth Game Center, Bukit Jalil. In return, they were given this land in Stadium Merdeka, where they hope to build their headquarters, consisting of Renong Tower, Time Telecom, Faber Towers, and things like that. I was lucky enough to be called by a good friend of mine, in fact, my mentor, Ahmad Fahmi Muhammad. He asked me to look after one of the tower which he designed. So he was elected to be the lead consultant for the project. The cost of the project was 1.5 billion, the first phase. He designed one tower. I was the project architect. We had 7 architects in the project, and there's a total of 17 consultants altogether. Can you imagine the kind of coordination that we had to do to make sure that the job runs smoothly? We went all the way until piling works. In fact, we did start with piling works, and then 97 came. So the whole job was initially KIV and then subsequently cancelled, and Renong was put under Dana Harta, and you know what happens after that. So I had no choice but to move back to my home city, move back to Johor Bahru without any jobs. I was too embarrassed to ask for jobs, and at that time, 97, there was practically no job, no new employment for, an experienced architect. So my first job on my own was a terrace house renovation. It was actually my own house. I spent 6 months to design and construct it myself. It's a big departure from my last job working for other people, from dealing with parking requirement, escalators, elevators, and things like that, to cabinet handles when I did on my own. So I moved on to other renovations, slightly bigger, from kitchen renovation to adding another wing, And of course, I tried to be creative about it by putting a pond in the middle. But it was kind of tough because you don't get projects coming to you. I thought opening up a firm would be like opening up a clinic where people will come to you and ask for your service. But in actual fact, it is not. It is a real business. You have to go out and market yourself. And I thought that was kind of tough for me because I was a project manager, the one who sits at the table, making sure that everything runs smoothly. And then now I have to be involved in marketing. So I did a few bungalows because only bungalow owners will trust me with their money. Developers will not trust me because I have no experience whatsoever in mass housing. I have never done any terrace houses or condominiums. So because my firm is so small, there were only three or four of us at that time. So we ended up doing bungalows, small bungalows, 100,000, 200,000. This one is 400,000 way back in year 2000. And then once I got a big break, but the design was quite interesting, where the owner came to me and an expatriate. Uh, he worked in Singapore. He has a big land in Leisure Farm. So he came to me with a design that he has collected from the internet. But there were many floor plans that he liked. So what I did was to combine two floor plans and become one solution. He's an Englishman, but one thing for sure, I was exposed to luxurious material because before this, when you were doing small houses with small budget, you end up with just tiles and normal finishes. But this one right here went for polished marble for the bathrooms. And just for you to know, this is the Hearst bathroom. This is the ladies' bathroom. Men's bathroom is somewhere else. The bathroom is so big. You can see that it is barricaded with 2-meter walls around. So you get this bathtub in the center with shower in the back with lots of lights coming into the bathroom. And I went on doing small jobs again. What I like about the job that I did was that I tried to introduce tropical uh, appearance or tropical character in the design that I did. And most of these houses belongs to my relative. They don't pay me, so they have no choice but to listen to me. So I took the opportunity to do a good job and publish it in some magazines. Okay. So my passion was into designing a house for tropical climate. And then I decided that I cannot go on with just doing bungalows. So one morning in 2004, if I'm not mistaken, I decided that, for us to grow bigger, we have to make a big change in the way we practice. So I talked to a lot of people, and one guy that inspired me was a school teacher. Over Teh Tarik, we had a talk on how we can change people, how we can change our mindset. So he gave me this, and I copied it, I typed it out, and I distributed it to my staff. This is management of change. Change without vision leads to confusion. Change without skills causes anxiety. Change without resources leads to frustration. Change without action plan is like walking on treadmill. You don't go anywhere. You just walk at the same spot. And change without incentive leads to resistance. So I had all my staff at the time. I had 6 people in the office to memorize this. First is the vision. For a company to change, it has to have a strong vision. I wanted to do more. I don't want to just be doing bungalows. So I put up a vision where I want the firm to be known as a design-oriented firm. I want the company to be known as a company with a certain standard. So we don't know any standards at that time. So I said we should be international standards. And then for that to happen, we have to have the skills. So whether it's talking skills or project management skills or 3D skills or BIM skills or whatsoever. And we have to have resources. Sure, you want to do realistic rendering, and you can't do that with slow computer. So resources has to be there. We have to invest on the software as well as powerful machines. And then we have to have action plan. We give deadlines to the plans that we have. By June, we need to make sure that everybody knows about contract management, or by July, everybody knows about the latest detail for tropical toilets. And after all doing all that, we have to have incentives. I have to give incentive to my team, because without that there'll be hesitation, there'll be resistance from my team. So basically, without vision, there'll be confusion. Without skill, there'll be anxiety. Without resources, there'll be frustration. Without action plan, you'll be working on treadmill. Without incentives, you'll be after that, to renovate, we spent just a little more than 10,000 ringgit to make our office more contemporary. We don't have enough money. We only the office look production house with papers everywhere and files and whatsoever. And the first big jobs that we get, the first big job we get was a $3 million bungalow. It was a big departure from doing jobs below $1 million to a $3 million bungalow that is 10,000 square feet. The area is 10,000 square feet, and it was all white. Even that, it was very difficult to that we had to invest in realistic rendering at that time. It was very costly. The software that could do this then was 3D Studio Max. Not many people hire a special artist who charged me a bomb for this, like 2,500 per view. I ended up with 4 views, spent 10,000 ringgit just for perspective. But with that investment, it was easier to convince the client. I was hired to do the job finally, and we completed the job within 18 months. It was Miami style beach house. Why we did this? Because the owner was showing me, the owner showed me a picture of this similar house in Miami. So I call it Miami beach house, all white with curved roofs on top. And that's the owner's car over there. They spent 3 million for the house. I heard now they're putting it for sale for about 20 million. Okay, another job that was, I think, a big factor in helping me in my ambition to change the image of my firm was this one. Is Bantara, also in Raja Farm. It's not that big. It's only 3,000 square feet. The cost was $1 million, but the detailing was quite demanding. So I had to work on Saturday. Was supposed to be my weekend. Every Saturday would be on site discussing on detailing because the owner was very involved. We even carved out the timber pillar to hide all the wirings inside the pillar. And then as for the deck, we use Chengao timber. And we wanted to hide the screws. But then we don't want any color difference between the dowel that is used to plug the screw holes. So I had to use the same material. We had to create dowels from the same channel to plug in all the screw holes that was created by the screws. This is what the house looks like now. I understand it's also it has been sold to a new owner from Japan. We had fun doing this house. The fee was not that great, but this is the product that helped me to win the first PAM award. That's a picture of the owner with the award certificate and the contractor. So what I can suggest to everyone, especially those who just started in their practice, first and foremost, you have to believe in your work, believe in what you do. Okay. I've always wanted to ensure that my design respond to climate. Whenever I have the chance, I will put in greeneries in spaces inside my home. Or in some cases, like this toilet, a lush green patch next to WC, next to the shower. So when I got the chance to do my own house way back in 2007, I said this is the time for me to make a statement. This is one chance where I get to do what I like without interference of another client or another owner, except for my wife, of course. I wanted to make a statement that architecture is about quality of space, not just about using expensive material, not about perfection. So when we did this house, we wanted to show that even with a low budget project, you can still achieve quality spaces. We use a lot of louvers to shade the openings. And then there's a lot of open area where in some cases I don't have walls at all to allow for maximum ventilation in the space. And then I have this green courtyard in the center of the house. Interestingly, it was featured many times in local magazine, digital magazine as well. And right after that, in 2008, a client who has been wanting me to do his house but never get to decide on anything, finally decided to have his house exactly like mine. So we spent 8 years doing doodles and sketches for him. But he only decided after he saw my house. He wanted it to be exactly the same. This is in Bandar Baru Uda, where it's facing main thoroughfare, main road. So good thing is that people will see this house every day as they pass through the main road. When there is a first timer, when a guy comes to my house for the first time, we say, "Oh, your house look like the one in Uda." So this one looks like the original house. Then it seems like I was the one copying this house. Okay. Another client from Singapore also look at the house on website. Called me personally. I wanted to do a similar design for her house in Ledang Heights. Exactly the same, openable doors, full height floor to ceiling doors with spaces that open to the garden, and rough concrete finishes. And after Bantara, there was also this house where we did 7 pavilion that uses the outdoor as circulation space. So I feel very happy the fact that I get to do what I like. The fact that there are people out there who appreciates this kind of design. But mind you, this kind of open design can only be done in gated and guarded community. Otherwise, people in the city would not agree with this. And a big developer, Leisure Farm, also hired us for a house that is designed totally for experience. There were 3 bungalow that is located side by side in Leisure Farm, where the intention was to create spaces and not facades. So when we did this one, we don't think about how it looks like from outside. All we did was to create quality spaces, interaction with the garden and the pool or water feature that you have inside the house. We went all the way to building plan approval, but sadly it was discontinued. There's a change of management in Leisure Farm. The job was not built. Okay, the next chapter is where I title "In Every Problem Lies Opportunity." There are many instances where people will come to you and ask for pro bono service or ask you to help out because they need to build something fast or whatsoever. I wanted to share with you about this Surau Nusa Idaman, one project that has taken me to international level actually. When the committee came to see me, they only had 10,000 ringgit. They wanted to build a surau, which is a small prayer hall, a small mosque for 200 people. And they only had 3 months to do it because Ramadan was coming. They were hoping that they could pray together during the fasting month. Obviously, 10,000 was not enough to build anything. Even a guard house will cost you more than that. So we decided to use simple material, just brick. Not even for the wall, the brick is for perimeter fencing. And then the structure, the big umbrella roof is actually supported by steel. It was so fast. We did it within 3 months' time. We didn't even have time to look for ventilation block. So we used the brick to create fenestration, to create openings in the screen. And it was a true tropical structure, to my belief. We created courtyard in the middle. And this job has landed me with the highest award, PAM Gold Award in 2011. I've also received 2 other awards, Sustainable Award in 2014, then the Korean 100 Architects of the Year, and then another one, Emerging Architect of Malaysia, way back in 2014, where the award was given in Istanbul. So guys, one small job can actually elevate your status. It's not those fancy condominiums or high-end big budget projects. This job is so small. The cost was only 150,000 ringgit at that time. Okay, we went on into the second phase of the project where we were asked to create a proper mosque, a prayer hall. The first one was a surau. So you can see that we have still maintaining the structure. We did this visual for donation for collecting funds for the mosque, and we got the right donor for the project. In 2017 we started building. It was completed early 2019. Very simple material, brick with steel structure at the front and galvanized sheet, galvanized screen all around the glass area to create shades. And the job was published in the international magazine in D+A Singapore and Majalah Architect. This is a shot of the interior and the shot of in-between space between outside and inside, the corridor where I planted a big tree. I planted some big trees to create shade for the glass area. One of the latest picture that we took during the COVID period, you can see the COVID staff where you need the separation, 1 meter separation from each person. Some say the pattern on the floor matches the pattern on the wall that I created over there. Okay, next title, Be Friends with the Media. I will have to register my big thank you to friends in the media actually. I was very passionate about photography. In fact, my first published work is my photograph that appears on this design magazine way back in '97. I like to shoot buildings. I travel and shoot a lot of slides, and then I contributed to this magazine. They printed it on the cover, and then after that they hired me to go to some other hotels or whatsoever where they do review of the project. So I enjoyed doing photography. So almost all my jobs that that once it's completed, have good collection of photographs ready to be published anywhere. The house that I did get a lot of attention. We get a lot of interviews from TV station. It's a lot of work actually on my side, because when the media came to see your project, you have to make sure that your house is publishable. They'll be taking shots of almost every angle that you see in the house. So you have to clean the house, make sure everything is prim and proper. But it's an investment that is worthwhile, because one, or it is published in magazine, you get a lot of exposures for the project or for your company. The first renovation was featured on the cover of Impiana magazine. A friend of mine, Mr. Yap Yupeng, White Architect, was the one who called up the editor of the magazine to come and take a look at my house. And then there was a lot of articles or writings about us. Some it was sent by me personally to those magazines. Some was actually written by their writers. Some were written by students. What I did on my part was to prepare photographs for their use, because those magazine staff, they are hungry for stories. So when you send them photographs and design statements of your work, you are actually helping them to meet their deadlines, to make sure that there are contents in their magazine. it's a good thing is that when they write about you and they started putting good words about you, because sometimes you are not just what you are what other people think you are, because you have to have another party to say good things about you. So magazines and newspapers have been helping me in that. One time, the Newsdays Time, I think this is in 2011, they give me a title, Awesome Architect. I was so afraid of that actually. They put such a big word for me, and then they put a center spread article about my work. Please note, they don't feature all of the works. They only select like two. In this case, it's just the house and the surau. And besides being good with the media, I think for us, for any practitioners to move forward or to move to a different level is to gain recognitions. The first activity that has opened up opportunities for me was Datum KL in 2013. I was the first speaker. It was very scary. I was terrified having to talk in front of 3,000 other architects. The talk was supposed to last for 1 hour, but I only spoke for 45 minutes. And the highlight was the talk, from what I was told, was the surau, not some other jobs that I showed them. So that was a good thing. And then in 2010, I was invited to speak about Johor Bahru being one of the 5 fastest emerging cities in the world. Why I was invited? Because when they came in, when UN Habitat sent their photographer to JB, I was the one who helped them, taking them to places and making sure that they have the permit to go on top of buildings, or we even got a helicopter for them to fly around the city of Johor Bahru. So I was fully sponsored to talk at the UN Pavilion Shanghai Expo in 2010. My talk only lasted for 30 minutes, but interestingly, I was the only one who speak in English, because the rest of the other speakers speak in their own language, Portuguese, Spanish, Mandarin, and another one from Nigeria. I think it was French. Yes, I have won a lot of awards since 1999. And some of these awards was strategized actually. I know that I was not doing mass repetitive housing. I know I cannot fight with big companies that's submitting condominiums. The awards that I won was for my surau, my office renovation, even a guard house. So those categories, there are not many people who submit for that. So yeah, I managed to clinch award for 5 years in a row, I think, between 2010 to 2015. And that surau, the one single project, has given me 3 international awards: Acacia, Korea, and the Sarah Award in 2014. And I was lucky enough to be invited to talk together with Mr. Kengo Kuma from Japan. So what I'm trying to say is that even though some of the jobs which I did not bring in good fee or did not bring in money, but reward comes in many forms. Getting recognized is probably one of the biggest reward that one could ever get when you complete your work. And finally, the latest recognition I got was being the jury for the MRT RTS Link facade design competition. where I was there together with some other distinguished panels, including His Majesty the Sultan of Johor. Okay, last chapter, sharing is caring. I was blessed, I was lucky enough to be given the opportunity to be, to have this career. I wanted to show that and inspire new generation, the young generation. I always make time to share my knowledge and my experience with the students. I was invited to give a lot of talks, local university and some other design schools. One of the most interesting talk that I did was at a mosque where I talk about the image and branding of a mosque, why it is important for the community. Even JKR Research Center invited me to give a talk to engineers and architects all over Malaysia. This was last year in October. So the thing is, when you are asked to share your knowledge or what you do, you begin to investigate, or you begin to study further what you're doing, whether or not it is right, whether or not it is sharing with other people. So it's kind of a pressure or a drive that push you to work harder, because you can't be telling them empty promises and those illogical stuff, but it has to be given with facts and supporting data and things like that. When you talk about tropical architecture, uh, for instance, you got to know what tropical architecture is all about, because all this while you might be doing just because you like it, but when you ask to present your product, you have to research and understand it in depth, and what you have done, whether or not it's right, or whether or not it is suitable for you to get everyone to see your work. Okay, and we get a lot of visits by students as well. We make time. It was not easy as well. We had to ask for permission for getting access to these places. But as I said, it's for me to inspire the young generation, to tell them that architecture is a worthwhile career. The mosques, the condominiums, the bungalows that I did, even my office was visited many times by a lot of universities. And the other thing that I share was the knowledge on building houses. I'm the president of Visan Johor. They wanted me to come up with a system where a house can be completed within 3 days' time. So initially, I started with this framing system where we use steel. We welded the steel in a factory. When we assemble, we send it to the site. It is already ready for assembly. We get 30 volunteers for 3 days during the weekend to assemble this. I volunteered to assemble it myself, and we got known by the Menteri Besar, who later gave us 500,000 to build another 10 houses. So it is still going on right now. The mild steel frame has been changed to light gauge steel. And the good thing is that when you do this, you know that we can, as architects, we can contribute to the society. We used to see movies where only doctors and policemen and lawyers can be heroes, but in actual fact, architect can be heroes as well. In total, we have completed 36 houses throughout Johor. and we have I think over 1,000 registered volunteers with us, whom we can call whenever the need arises. My achievement is to get my house to be on the cover of a book. And then the other achievement is where I get to compile my work last year during MCO. I got nothing to do. I have lots of photographs. So I spent 3 months compiling photographs, and we managed to complete a 200-page monograph, which was then published by Atelier International. It's still on sale, by the way. I think they have it on sale on Shopee. 100 ringgit per copy. That's the publisher, Dr. Tan Lokman, and the guest writer was Robert Powell and my good friend Ahmad Nizam Razi. Moving forward, one of the biggest job that we have done, it took us 5 years to complete this job, is a condominium in Putri Harbour. And then we are doing a condominium in Lake Lali. This is a rendering. It's not completed yet. It's about to be launched soon, but they have postponed the launching date because of MCO. And then we still do terrace housing. This is our bread and butter still. We get to do low budget affordable houses as well as high-end semi-Ds. I still do bungalows, but now I get to decide the client that I want. Most bungalows that we did now is where the client hired us because they like what we do and not what they like. They don't give us magazines to follow, so we get a free hand to design the bungalows now. And I try to be consistent with my belief about tropical architecture. This is a job in Kelang where we are doing a convention hall, lots of trees with shading device, a screen to represent Kelang. It's under construction right now in Bukit Raja. And then currently we are doing a farm stay on this beautiful 10-acre hilly site in Bukit, in Gunung Lambak. One thing I want to share with you, this client is from Singapore. We have never met her. He got our name from the website. She actually read and look at all the jobs that we did. And then she came to our office and insisting that we take on the job. We've got at least 3 clients who actually knew us from the internet. So it pays to actually provide good information on your website or on your Instagram. This is what it's supposed to look like. Some accommodation, small accommodation that will be surrounded with vegetable farm. This is progress right now. That's the brickwork that is currently going on. And that is the tiny steel frame accommodation overlooking the farm. And lastly, what I have to remind you is that your team is your greatest asset. You can't do this alone. You need a good team to back you up. So Alhamdulillah, my team has been very cooperative with me. Half of the office has stayed with me for more than 15 years. So you need to make sure that they are happy. There's a photo of them, photograph of them taking the awards for the office. And then we make sure that we have site visits, architecture site visits whenever possible. This is the major project in Singapore that we managed to get permission to visit it. And this is what the team looks like right now, a total of 15. And hopefully they will stay with me and they will be happy with me. So with that, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Architect Razin, for your very interesting presentations, and of course, an interesting journey indeed. Okay, thank you very much. I think there's a lot of good photos and interesting pictures there throughout your journey as an architect in your practice, and humble to look at, to share, to be able to be a moderator for your sharing sessions. Okay, now we come to our Q&A session. I think that there's a question from the floor, but before that, I will try to get into, before I jump into the question from the chat box, I will try to ask you two questions. I think the Secretariat allow me to ask two questions, but in fact, it's actually 1, 2, and 2.1. Hopefully you're okay, Razin. Okay. Very interesting indeed, your talk. I think I'll stay focused. I think I bet most of the participants out there are keeping an eye for the entire durations of your talks, and don't blink a second because it's very, very interesting. Okay, my first question to start off is what is your advice to the millennials architects who is eager to make a break in their practice, especially now during the pandemic time, whereby there's a lot of challenges, and especially those who had who had passed their Part 3 exam and had their had their practice established at a very young age. So what's your advice to these millennials? That's number one. Probably you can listen to, I will ask the question first. Number two, my question is that our architecture fraternity is facing tough times, especially during these pandemics. That's number one. Currently we're facing pandemics. I think it's been stretching from last year to this year, and we don't see the, I don't know, with this vaccine, hope we'll see lights at the end of tunnel soon, very, very soon, and we can get back to our own feet and back to normal again sometimes by end of the year. And then you're facing that. And the other one is that from 1996 up until now, you've been through many cycles of crisis of financial. For example, 1998, we had a financial crisis, and then 86. I'm not sure whether you in it, but I think back in 1986, you just started, you just graduated. I think it felt, it echoes a few years after that. So how do you face these challenges through these difficult times, up from starting of your career up until now? Series of that challenges. 2.1. 2.1 is that, what is your next 10 years? Where is you in next 10 years? With all the recognitions, do you feel do you feel complete? Or I like the fact that you mentioned about some of the things that the jobs that you've been assigned to is you get from the internet. So that is very, very interesting. So I think that can be really something that is for the young to look at in this. But then basically your project talks about themselves, and then how do you see yourself in next 10 years? Thank you. Those 2.1, 1, 2, and 2.1 questions. Thank you. Before I jump into the participant questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator, Architect Hazri. First question: advice to millennials, advice to this to the current young generation. Actually, it's the other way around. It's the other way around. They should advise me. I'm considered an old guy. One thing for sure, whatever I say for this first question will actually somehow answer the other questions as well. To me, technology is there. It is very, very important that you keep up to the technology. We used to draw freehand, and then early 80s, we started working on computer. Now we have BIM, building information modeling. So there's no two way about it. You just have to uh, prepare yourself, or you have to get in with the crowd. Uh, you have to join the crowd, because that will become the industry standard. If you don't have it, then you might not be able to participate in some of the work that is being offered. JKR, for instance, will ask for BIM registration. So in Johor Bahru, I think we were one of the first to be registered as BIM operator. We registered with IDB. For that, I think we had to buy 3 licenses or whatever. It's an investment on our side, but it was well worth it. Now, JKR can just type BIM operator Johor Bahru, they will see our name popping up. But I haven't got any job from JKR yet, but at least I'm getting ready to do it. Social media is also a good platform. It is actually quite troublesome to create a proper website, but Instagram can be your immediate website. Just make sure that you put the right content. If you are indeed into tropical, then I suggest you put tropical images, not necessarily your work, but images that is related to the product that you believe in. Big names like Norman Foster, Jean Nouvel, Richard Meyer, they all have Instagram account. Even, they interact with their audience. So it is something that needs to be done. I'm not good at it, so I had to get someone else to do it for me. So I have 2 accounts. One is official for the company. Another one is my personal account. Personal account is more like what I do, what I cook, what I eat. But for the company is more like press release, what we achieve, what we have completed, and things like that. So one thing that I can recommend is to believe in what you do. You know what's happening on YouTube now? You get paid for getting a number of views. So I just read yesterday that a few people in Indonesia are getting paid for doing nothing on YouTube. They just stare at the camera for 2 hours and they get like almost 1 million viewers. So if they can find something that is unique, even by just doing nothing, they can get viewers. Surely as architects, we can be creative and do something. I can see that some architects are pushing for a certain image. Elena Jamil, for instance, is pushing for her bamboo sustainable material and things like that. There are some other people who are also active. I can't name it right now. But as for other international players like Jean Nouvel is promoting his work, his newly completed Abu Dhabi gallery, and then Woha, for instance, has been repeating their hotel, the green hotel or the green office tower in Singapore. I think the keyword is to find your unicorn. Everybody will be showing their horses, but you are special because you have a unicorn. I'm not sure whether or not I have my unicorn yet, but I can see from the trend, from the feedback that I get from Instagram or website, whenever I put the moss, there'll be a lot of interaction. There'll be people asking me this and that. There'll be students asking for even the floor plans of the mosque. That is interaction. That means your work is being noticed. Sad to say, as architects, we cannot advertise our work. We cannot put our work on TV. We cannot put our work on billboard. So advertising is important in any business. So architecture is a business. It's just like any other business. You need to invest on promotion. Okay. As for survival, the second one, it's all about management. It's about business management. I have no experience in it. I don't take accounting or business courses, but I talk to people, I ask for their advice and things like that. As a Muslim, we believe in rizqi. God gives the rizqi to every staff or every personnel that you have in your office. You are just a channel. Sometimes, you know, like what I say, you don't lobby for anything, suddenly you are landed with a job, sometimes a big one, and it's just not for you alone. It's for you to share with your team. But on the logical side, you still need to manage. We started with just 3 or 4 people for many years, and then to be honest, when I first employ an architect, I couldn't sleep because at that time we only had small jobs. The architect asked for 2,500 ringgit a month. I agreed to it because I know he can bring in good design. But after that, I couldn't sleep because I don't have enough money to pay him for the next 6 months. I only had like money for 3 months probably. So thank God, projects come in with his proposal. He contributed, and then we got some other bigger jobs. So when we were doing the Tiga condominium, the staff was as big as 25, I think. We had 25 people in the office. Imagine if one is paid 3,000 ringgit, that's already $75,000 a month for 5 years. Because I put them on contract, some 3 years, some 5 years, because after the job is done, they had to look for other jobs. So that is management. So you have to manage your risks. And we also try to diversify our effort. We have not decided yet, but we would like to be a small developer. I would like to probably get, this is when you talk about the next 10 years, I would probably like to get a piece of land, probably 2 acres in size. I subdivide to probably 8 bungalow lots. I built the bungalow, I designed it myself, and then once it's completed, we sell it off at a premium price. But the entire neighborhood will be designed by us and constructed by us. So that will be my plan for survival in future. But we have not done it yet because to buy land is not easy. You can buy land probably, you know, somewhere in the kampong, but not in JB area. So that's my answer. I hope it answered the question that you just gave me. I can see there's some
All right,
other
thank you.
questions from the.
Yes, yes, I'm going to read that. I'm going to read that. Okay, thank you very much. I think, thanks for your advice. I think it's a good advice. It's all about management, how to survive during those cycles of the pandemics through the years. Also, be brave to take the challenges, to take the risk, for you to continue to be relevant, and also you talk about the applying a new digital in this digital era. Okay, I'm going to go for the first questions. I think from the Yong Pu. I think he loves your mosque in Johor Bahru. I think that is a compliment to you, Architect Razin, on your mosque that you have done. It looks more than 10K for the brick wall buildings. How did you manage to the rest of the funds? From the question from Architect Ze Yong Pu. That is I'll take that question first.
Okay, the surau actually, in the end, the cost was 150,000. 10,000 was the money that they had in their account when we first did the job. We did visuals, a few perspectives and design intent, description and whatsoever. And then it was placed on their Facebook. This was 2010, yeah? It was placed on their Facebook, and of course they share it with as many people as they can, not only from Johor, but throughout Malaysia. After that, we move on and we actually started with the work to show that this was a real job. It's not a scam. It's not just asking for donation. We are actually proceeding with the building of the small surau. So we uploaded the photographs again on the Facebook, and it gets to get the confidence of the donors. So we get 1,000, 2,000, and the biggest donation we got was 25,000 from one single donor at that time.
It's actually from the crowdfunding, sir.
Yes, it's crowdfunding.
see.
Our
All right.
office managed to collect 30,000 for the surau,
That's good.
because
Yes,
I just sent emails to my clients, and one of the biggest donor was the Miami house owner, the one that I showed you. I think from them alone is 20,000.
Oh, that's great.
So when they believe you, it's a lot easier to to get them to part with their money. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Our next questions from the chat box. I won't go for Q&A box yet, because there's a question that came earlier from this chat box from Assalamualaikum. This question from Architect Dina. I think Architect Rush Dina. Thank you for such inspiring sharings. Love to listen to it, especially young practitioners like me. Okay, her question is that how do you see architects intended to start own the practice, which first start with S size or take opportunity with L size practice and so on? What's your best advice to practitioners, especially women like us, in the so-called men's world? It's a men's world. I don't know whether it's men's world or not. It's I don't know whether it's genders.
Okay,
okay.
Architect Rusdina, yeah.
Yep.
The best way to start your practice is to keep it small. I started my practice at the age of 31. I was already very comfortable then, having a company car, housing allowance. Our combined salary, me and my wife, was almost 10,000 ringgit a month. We had breakfast at in hotels, and we had buffet lunch on like weekly basis. But I decided to quit and started on my own because my commitment was not that big then. Imagine if I were to own 2 cars and have 2 houses or whatever, have 4 kids, then I would be very reluctant to be on my own. Okay. But I started small. I started working from home. I just converted a room to become my office. All I had was one computer. I do the drawings. My wife do the BQ because we do small renovation. My wife has no experience whatsoever doing BQ, but I forced her to type the BQ for me, for my contract. Uh, it would be easier if you already have jobs. If you know a developer who likes you very much, and you can somehow convince them that you will be on your own, and you need their support, they're willing to give you jobs, that will be easier actually. Some friends that I knew had to borrow from the bank, borrow like 100,000 just to pay the salaries of their staff, because we don't have any products that we can sell. We only sell ideas, but we have to have staff to help us do it. So you may need to reduce your commitment by having very little number of your staff. If possible, if you can do it all by yourself, it will be even greater, because with softwares and Pinterest or whatever, if you are exposed to the computer, you can handle things all by yourself actually. That's what I did. I did 3D graphics and drawings myself, because I was a project manager. Before that, I was a draftsman. I don't go out. When in America, there's no draftsman. So when I was there, I actually did drafting. So it was easier for me to be on computer and do things myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Architect Razin, for your advice just now, and thank you, Architect Rustina, and also Ze Young for your questions. Very interesting questions. We had another question from Q&A from Architect Lee Shen Luen Justin Lee. I think Architect Justin Lee. His question was: in your architectural journey, have you ever thought partner or partners is needed, and why? We're going to that question first, Architect Aziz.
Yeah, very good question. I started alone on my own. I was a sole proprietor for the first 10 years. Why did I consider getting another partner or director? Why did I establish a Sdn Bhd company? It is actually a requirement by some GLCs, by some development company, that they don't hire sole proprietor companies, because they say when the architect dies, the company dies with him. So there's no continuity. That's right. That was the what they came out of their mouth. Razin, if you want our job, you have to upgrade yourself. I was surprised that you are not a Sdn Bhd company, and this is going against our SOP, our procurement method. We can only hire Sdn Bhd company. That was the thing that they said to me. So I quickly called up my friend, and we set up a company then. And when my senior staff, when Marwan got his part 3, I upgraded him to be my junior director. So
Thank you.
I
I
think
think
this
that's
is
almost the
important.
case when the big developers comes in, employs you. They will ask for your to be partnered or senior Bahat. Will be much better positions in that appointments. Okay. Next is Architect Rustina.
That's the same. That's the same question.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is, we had another 15 minutes to go, so I'm gonna go for another one here. Assalamualaikum. This question is from Nur Sharif Nur Rashid, Architect Nur Sharif Nur Rashid. Assalamualaikum. Just want to know who and what inspired you, and what is your reference, and how you know to design professionally and aesthetically. I think very interesting question. I think where do you get your design inspirations, and you get the skill correct in your design. I think that's basically the question is.
Okay, Zarif Nur Rashid, very good question. I have to be honest with you. It doesn't come automatically. Some say you want to get the right proportion, you have to use the golden mean section, 3 by 5, 5 by 6, things like that, or you do that spiral thing. I made a lot of mistakes. There were a lot of buildings that I did which is out of proportion and doesn't look nice. But I get a lot of inspiration by traveling. I went to Bali a few times, Australia, all over the world, and my passion is in photography. I will photograph the building that I like, the proportion that is suitable. And now you don't have to go out. You can do that by just looking at Pinterest or whatever online. Uh, you need to practice. You need to train your eye to do that. It's just like graphic design. I'm a graphic designer myself. I'm a graphic designer. When I was a student, I worked as a graphic designer and photographer for the university. So when you design something that is to be seen, it has to be pleasant to the eye. Sometimes you use big font, sometimes small font, sometimes you combine, and that has helped my decision in getting the right proportion. And all was done manually, I think, because when you do that on computer, it's kind of tough because you have to key in the dimension and things like that. When you do a design on proportion, you somewhat want it to flow freely. So I always get my staff to print the elevations or the part where it needs to be amended, and I would draw it manually and sketch on top of their drawings. So sometimes you move by 6 inches, sometimes you move by a feet, you make the arch bigger and things like that. So there's a lot of study in there. No shortcut. You got to really work hard on that. I hope that
Right.
answers the question.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Razin. You mentioned numerous occasions during your presentations. You on the needs to sketch. I think, do you still practice that, or some even with the new technology, new digital era, most designers start to design on screen,
Oh,
with the software. So do you still use that sketch as a start of the design?
I still do. I keep all my sketches.
I see.
I have a series of books behind me. Those are recordings of my thoughts, my sketches, my notes.
Probably that could be another topic for your next year CPD.
Even this. I will
Okay.
sketch and I will use color pencil. Even though I know it's already guarded, I wanted to see it green, so I will color it.
I see.
I have color pencil on my desk all the time. Even during design, like a small renovation like this. You see purple pencil lines?
Mm. Yeah.
So I've been doing designing in the same method since I started. I have computers, but I think this one is faster. It gives me more freedom to just
Exactly.
something what I like.
That could be another advice from you, I think, to start off to these young millennials who often use computers to start the design. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I think you missed the question by Architect Rushdina just now on the men's world.
I think
Is there such uh, is there such in a men's world, so-called men's
no, not
world
really, not really.
architecture?
Some say female architects are more detailed. They are more focused. They are more sensitive to detail stuff, where men are more general, in my experience, some of the female staff that I have will check spellings and will check the numbers better than my male staff, because they put attention to little details, so which could be good. So the most famous architect in the world, one of the most famous, is a female, the late Zaha Hadid. So there's no question about that. Yeah, I don't think there's any. I don't think the field is gender specific. Right now, even if you can be successful, it doesn't have to be male or female. Anyone can be successful, actually.
It's the balanced world, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, between men and women. Okay, interesting. I think we got another few more minutes before we end the sessions. Okay, interesting. You also talk about, you're so so much into the social medias. I just wonder, do you have a TikTok account?
Not yet. I have Instagram, I have Facebook, and a website.
Okay, all right. So how do you intend? Sorry.
There were last year. There were 2 Singapore clients who came to our office just by looking at the website, and they built quite big job, quite sizable job. One did a bungalow worth about 3 million. Another one that is the farm stay, almost about 3 million as well. Good thing is that you don't have to go out fishing for the job. They come to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the power of having a good website.
Yep. I think it's a good platform for the architects, especially the young millennials who are, familiar with all the commands, the softwares, many softwares that is available in the market. I think that is the advantage to the young millennials these days. Okay. You also talk about, I think we've got another 5 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes to go before we end. Probably our 1 or 2 questions, since we do not have. Oh yes, we had another 1 questions from Muhammad Fazli Sarib. Thank you for inspiring talk. Not really a question. Was once a project architect for 6 years, currently work as clerk of work, but I'm still interested to take part 3. Hopefully this will be my strength to keep believe in myself. Thank you so much, Architect Razin. I think that is basically a compliment. I think you have inspired many, I believe, in this talk. And what's your further advice to Encik Muhammad Fazli Sarib, if you had any?
Like I said in my talk.
And also to those out there who do not have part 3s, who struggle to get part 3s.
Part 3 is the law. You need to have a license to practice. I know there's a lot of people out there who offer architecture service without proper license, but I don't think that is good. I don't think that is good for the profession either. So it's good that you have this interest to take part 3. I think once you get it, it's like the world is yours. I remember when I first got my result, I only took it once. But I worked for 6 years before I sat for the exam. I mean, I was smiling from ear to ear for a week at least. I look at the buildings. Oh, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that.
Floating, eh? On the ground.
Yeah, but there's no shortcut.
Yeah, exactly.
My thing to the audience, you got to work hard, and you got to work hard. You have to believe in yourself, believe in what you do. You have to like what you do what you like. All that goes in one place. Once you put the usaha, and the rest is rezeki or luck. Got to be at the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you need to go out and see people. the more people you see, the more opportunity there will be in being landed with a job. It could be somebody doing renovation, it could be somebody doing a new bungalow, it could be a developer who has a friend who wants to do a house and things like that. But I know there are some architects out there who just survive on bungalows. They do like 3 or 4 bungalows a year. One bungalow is 1 million. If you get 10%, that's 100,000 times 4, that's 400,000 a year. That's enough for one-man company. But doing bungalow is a very personal stuff. You have to make sure that you have the energy to serve your client, because it's very personal. They could be out there at the furniture shop. Razin, what's the size of our room? I don't remember. I want to buy a super king. Would that fit in that room? That is 2 years after the job is completed.
And
so it's very personal, and you become friends with them. It's either you become friends or you become enemies.
They can call you anytime, even on a midnight.
Yeah. So it's a good start, but I like to have a balance of stuff. I do work for developers. I do work for individual owners as well.
All right.
So if you have the passion, do it. I think satisfaction comes in many forms. Sometimes not just the money alone. It's getting the house completed as per your initial sketch. That is also satisfactory. That is also an achievement.
All right, thank you, Md Razin. I think before we end, do you have any, give you 1 minute for closing remarks from your side?
I think
on your end.
that's all I have at the moment. Thank you, Pam, for inviting. I hope whatever that is shared here will somewhat inspire you guys, especially those who just got their part 3 and wanted to start their own. There is never a good time to start. I mean, believe in yourself, do it. No matter what, you sink or swim, you just have to jump into the pool. You'll be pressured to survive. And I think you'll be creative in how you want to survive. I think that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Md Razin, for such inspiring sharings and talks this morning. Not just that, I think I find it personally, it is a very, going through the talks, it's very interesting, and there's a lot of challenges that you face, and also challenges and through so many years. I think you somehow put it on things that is put it on the right tracks for everything that you have done. Thank you very much. I think your talks has I believe has inspired many people out there who are young millennials, even those who have practiced many years will be inspired by your talks. Okay, we have come to the end of the session 1. With that, I thank you everyone for participating in these talks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we take? Okay.
Hello. Hello. Yes, I hear. Boleh. Bagi makan, bagi cakap daripada pihak biji pun boleh. Dah. Yep. Okay. Let's say salah. Hazri,
Yes.
kalau kita nak tengok yang lain macam mana? Do I have access to other?
No, you can communicate with Nani.
Oh, okay. Because I did not register for other talks. For as a listener, I only register as a speaker.
Have you registered? You dah register sebelum ni?
Belum.
Belum eh? No, you can talk to Nani.
Okay.
You ada nombor dia ke?
Sorry, dia ada call rasanya. Tak apa.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you. I have to leave now.
Yes, me too. I have to
Very much.
moderate another session.
All right.
Thank you, Md Razin. Thank you very much.
Bye.